Today we're going to be taking a look at the Gemini Jet's Cebu Pacific Airbus A330-300 with the new livery in 1/400 scale. So here we have the box. It's a very generic looking box, nothing special. You have the 1/400 scale and the Cebu Pacific A330-300 text on 3 sides, and then of course you have the warning label on the top. A very simple box, and on the back of course we have the drawings of the Cebu Pacific A330, the top view and the bottom view. Here we have the Gemini Jet's Cebu Pacific Airbus A330 new livery out of its packaging. Starting at the front of the plane, we can see the windshield wipers and the Philippine flag on both sides. Moving along to the left hand side of the plane, there is much to go into detail. Here's a closer look at the front fuselage. It definitely looks good from afar, but you can see some imperfections on the paint, which although is hard to see with the naked eye. We can see the landing lights here, which is more of a chrome spot with the gray dot, giving the illusion of its transparency, which I thought was a pretty smart design. Since it is the left hand side, we have the red navigation lights and a weirdly shaped winglet. Here's a closer look at the engines. Hopping on over to the back, we have the registration number of Romeo Papa Charlie 3347. We can also see the bird logo that has now invaded the rear fuselage from its original place on the tail and on the front fuselage. Here we have the rear of the plane. They still managed to include some really good detail with minor inconsistencies on some parts. Looking at the plane from the rear, we can see that the right elevator is angled higher than the left, which is much of an eyesore if you look at it up close. Continuing on to the right side, we pretty much get the same thing as the left but mirrored, with the addition of these really detailed cargo doors on the rear. You can still see some imperfections on the paint, which can only be seen with a camera. You might mention how the windows appear blurry from the photos, although unfortunately they do appear blurry even with the naked eye. As it is the right hand side, we have the green navigation lights and a better shaped winglet. On the wing, we have the registration number, and you can also notice that there are these texts that are a little too hard to read, but it basically says do not walk outside this area, oriented on both directions on both sides of the wing. Here we have engine 2, and I really like how they outline the reverse thrusters. A very detailed pair of engines on this model. We now have the very detailed front cargo door, and that pretty much sums up the right side of the plane. Going over to the top, I just want to briefly mention that these antennas are pointy and I would definitely advise handling them with care. And while there are the reasons why these holes were made in the first place, they definitely won't be going anywhere. And of course, we have the upper anti-collision light. Going to the bottom, there are a couple things to see. Here you can really see these 2 slots that are way deeper than they have to be. We have the belly Cebu Pacific logo and a hole to accommodate newer Gemini jet stands which are sold separately. The older ones have a larger diameter, just something to keep in mind. Here's the bottom of the left wing with the registration number, then the bottom of the right wing. Here's a closer look of the bottom of the rear fuselage. The landing gears do roll and tilt, and while these tires feel like rubber, the excess plastic can really ruin the experience. Here's a quick comparison of the old one to the new one. The packaging is very different. You can see that the newer one has less plastic and can also accommodate A340-300s. The newer one is more exposed, which can help you see better, but more vulnerable once opened. The models look really good next to each other, although the changes do not stop with delivery, for there were many changes in the mold. We can see that the newer model has a lower and pointier nose than the old one, and there's definitely a significant change in height for both models. Keep in mind that they are both in 1/400 scale and made by Gemini Jets. In the end of it all, Gemini Jets made a decent model. I wouldn't say it's the best, although Gemini Jets is the only company that makes this specific plane in 1/400 and 1/200 scale at the time of this video was uploaded. Cebu Pacific's new logo is a very refreshing and interesting one. It is a true evolution of a low-cost pioneer inspired by the colors of the Philippines. What do you guys think of the new livery? I know they've had it for so many years now, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.